a reaction if you can hear me. I hope everyone can hear me. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking our time to join us this evening. We are super excited to have you on the call. And I know that it's been a long Friday for some of us on the call, having to go to work and then still taking our time to join us on today's panel discussion session. I mean, this is totally different. I know that for some of us who has been joining us on Fridays, it's been webinars, but this time we're switching things a little bit, and we are going to be having a panel discussion tonight. And I believe we're really excited as well to be on the call because it's going to be a really insightful and a packed session. So please, like the timer said as well, the countdown said, get ready, get your notepad ready, because you're going to be getting enough insights that you need in order for you to make the decision wherever you are in your career journey today. Okay, so before we get on, we would just like to meet with you very shortly before we move on. So we want to know where you are joining us from, right? We want to get to know where you're joining us from, and also for you to share with us if you have any technical background prior to now, or you are a newbie looking at how to transition into tech, basically, right? So we want to really hear from you. And while we're doing that as well, please ensure that you share the invite link that is right in the comment section. Ensure that you share it with your network, your friend, your colleague at work. Just grab the link and paste it on that tech community group that you're on, or with your network, your friend. This is you doing them a favor. Sometimes it's the little things that matters, and you don't know who you might be helping as well just by sharing that link, and putting it on your WhatsApp status. So please ensure that you get a link and share with your friends as well. Get them to join the call, because this is something that is really going to be helpful for everyone on the call. So please get them to join the call tonight, because it's going to be amazing and it's going to be straightforward as well. We do not intend to take so much of your time, right? So get them to join the call. Over the next few minutes, they are going to be hearing insights that will really help shape their career journey, and also get to help them make the decision necessary for them to take as well in their career. So we're waiting for you to pick up the link and share with your friends, your network, that community group that you're on as well. Okay, so while we're doing that, we want to read from you, and also to set the tone for this panel session that we are going to be having very shortly. So if you have any question, we are going to be putting the link to the Slido in the chat box as well. So if you have any question while the conversation is going on between our panelist and the moderator, kindly use the Slido link that will be pasted in the comment section or the chat box. Kindly use it to, put in your questions, and I'm sure that we would get to it before the end of the session tonight. So if you have any question, kindly use the Slido link, because we might lose your chat quickly in the chat box if you put it directly in the chat box. Okay, so we want to hear from you. Now is the part where we want to really hear from you, get to know where you're joining us from, and also to know if you have any technical experience prior to now, or you are a newbie, totally newbie, and you're looking to transition into tech, but you are not really sure about which part of tech to get into, because there's just a lot about the conversation around tech today. So you're looking to know which one you want to get into. So let's get to read from you, Donald. Let's get to read from you. I'm trying to see the other people that we have on the call. Musonda, I hope I got that right. Musonda Obaru. Joseph, let's get to read from you as well. Just tell us where you are joining us from, and if you have any technical experience, or you are just a newbie. We want to know who our audience is. Okay, I think I have some messages here. Okay, Donald from UK. Donald, what do you do currently? Are you into tech, or are you looking to transition into tech? Let's get to it from you very quickly. Like I said, we don't plan to take so much of your time. So the earlier we get into it, the better. And while we are doing that as well, don't forget to invite your friend, your colleague, your network, get them to join the call this evening because it's going to be an amazing one. I can promise you that. It's going to be an amazing one. Okay, it says newbie. Thank you, Donald, for that. Okay, Musonda says joining from Colchester, UK. Okay, from the UK. Olufemi says I'm in network and security engineering field. I want to transition into cybersecurity. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, Olufemi, for sharing that with us. Okay, Musanda says I was in GRC cybersecurity but want to diverge into data science. Amazing. Joining. Okay, I think I've read this as well. Amazing. Thank you so much for all those who have shared with us. So you can keep that coming in as well. You can keep that coming in. Okay, so right about now, we are going to be getting into the session for today. And like I said, it's going to be an amazing one. And you still want to go ahead and invite your friends to join this call as well. So starting tonight, I am going to be introducing our panelists and also our moderator as well. So I'm going to be starting with our panelist first, and then I will be introducing our moderator last, and then she takes over from there. Okay, so we have Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a DevOps professional with expertise in AWS infrastructure as code and containerized environment with experience leading engineering team. With experience leading the engineering team and delivering scalable cloud across organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome Emmanuel as he comes on board tonight as part of the panelists for this for tonight's panel discussion. Welcome, welcome, Emmanuel. It's so good to have you on the call. Also, we have with us Tomiwa. Tomiwa is a tech architecture specialist currently leading DevOps efforts on multi-cloud migration project with experience delivering large-scale transformation initiative across critical infrastructure. And we are super excited to have Tomiwa on the call with us this evening. Welcome, welcome, Tomiwa. It's so glad to have you on the call with us tonight. All right, so we have Omolara as well. Omolara is a platform engineer at CGI UK. She is focused on building secure, scalable, and highly available cloud infrastructure while helping organizations leverage the cloud for growth and efficiency. And it's so amazing to have Omolara on the call with us tonight. Welcome, welcome, Omolara. So good to have you on the call tonight. And finally, for tonight as well, we have Gbemisola Ojo, who is a cloud DevOps manager at PwC UK, and she is the founder of Cloudboosta Technology Solutions as well, with strong expertise in cloud infrastructure, DevOps practice, and helping professional transition into tech career. So ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome our panelist and moderator tonight as well. So I'm going to be handing over to Gbemisola to take over from here, and then she is going to be driving the conversation from here. Over to you, Gbemi. So good to have you on the call.
Thank you so much, Ife. Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's such a joy to have my amazing colleagues here. Honestly, like, I'm just happy. I feel like it's just going to be a gist because these are people that I've worked with. We've done so many different things together. I mean, myself and Tomiwa, we worked together in Accenture many years ago. And once again, congrats on your new role. Omolara as well. Platform engineer. Yeah, you guys probably know Omolara very well now. And of course, we have Emmanuel as well, one of our star instructors. All our students go through Emmanuel. Like, I don't think you can come to Cloudboosta and don't go through Emmanuel, right? He's going to, teach you all the technical depth of containerization. And absolutely, it's always a joy to have you, Emmanuel. And thank you so much for being a huge part of this. And of course, our amazing audience. It's a joy to have you. I know it's Friday afternoon. Even me, I've had such a long week. I'm like, God, but we have to do this. So for everyone on the call, thank you so much for joining. I can see Donald. I can see Uweya. from Colchester. I can see Joseph. Olufemi, you're welcome. Mary Linda, you're welcome. OS, OS is our operating system. Anyway, you're welcome. And everyone on the call, really, you are most welcome. It's a joy to have you. We have Abiodun Adams, we have Timmy, Azuka, Clement, Cosmos, David, Dolapo, Essay, Kimsey, we have Michael, we have Indy, we have Obaro, we have Olufemi, 2 Olufemis, you're welcome. We have Somto, and we have Victoria, and every other person. Please forgive me if I didn't call your name, and people that watch you. It's really around, you know, the and of course we shouldn't be getting ourselves involved in anything that will not be relevant, right, many years from now, especially because most people that join us are people who are transitioning. So if you want to move from a different field into the world of tech, you want to make sure that you are in the right place. And one of the ways for you to validate whether you're in the right place or not is also to hear from people, who are in that space, hear from them on a day-to-day basis. You've heard people's introductions, and they will tell you, each panelist will tell you more about themselves as they answer the questions. But everyone on the call has been in this field for many years, at least 4 years, some people even longer, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, you know. So we all have our different experience, and we've been in this field, and thankfully our careers have been going really well. So one of the ways you can validate if this is for you, and that's what I always do, right? I can't just jump into something. I have to hear from people. Who are the people that are there? What's their experience like? Does this resonate with me? Most people, you already have, for you to even see the webinar flyer and say, okay, let me join this conversation, there's some kind of inclination towards this. So the conversation we'll have today will validate or give you clarity. So please feel free to ask. We have a Slido link. We're going to put it again in the chat box. Please make sure that you maximize that to ask all your questions. So again, the topic before us is why cloud skills will remain in demand. Why cloud skills will remain in demand? And that is coming from, of course, we know that the tech landscape continues to change. We know that there is a lot of buzz around AI, for example. There is a lot of buzz around cybersecurity and many things that are going on. The world is constantly changing. So we want to know from this conversation, why will cloud skills still remain relevant, and to hear from people. So I'll start by asking the question, right? Everybody on the panel, Emmanuel, Omolara, Tomiwa, they all are, and myself inclusive, I'm also on the panel. I'll answer questions as well. Everyone has a different vantage point, right? You work in different companies. So I would like to ask, like, what does demand actually look like from where you sit? And I'll just leave that question open to anyone who wants to answer the question. However you would like to approach it, people want to know, you know, why cloud skills will still remain in demand. So what does that look like from where you sit, right? Whether it's from a consulting experience or industry experience, a senior developer, senior DevOps engineer, you know, what does that demand look like from your angle? Who would like to, I feel like calling Emmanuel. Maybe I should call Emmanuel for this question. Yeah.
Sure. So I guess generally, like, because of my career, I've gone from consulting to working in-house. I've worked now for 2 market intelligence firms and things like that. So cloud skills are, I think, from my point of view, kind of necessary in literally every organization now, just because we're in a very modern, modern time, right? Like, I don't think there's almost every kind of establishment you look at, like a small shop, anything like that, they need to have some level of online presence. So an app, websites, all these things, and all these things are hosted. Now, talking about cloud and cloud skills is all about, like, using cloud computing rather than in-house thing. I think one thing people misunderstand is that, okay, if you learn cloud, you can't do it like without AWS or anything like that. The skills are still kind of the same. Like, a server is still a server, whether it's on cloud or not. And all these websites, all these applications, all these things, all these internal portals, all these things that everybody uses, they have to be hosted somewhere. So that skill set is needed, right? So, you know, we're in an age where, you know, with AI and stuff like this, kind of simpler ways to handle things. But no matter what, as a company or an organization grows or tries to grow, there'll be space to kind of bring in, you know, engineering, like kind of solve problems, choose the right solutions, all these kinds of things will always be there. So in that sense, there'll always be that demand. So I think literally from every kind of industry. And then, you know, within the sort of tech space itself, again, like I said, everything computer-wise still kind of comes back to running on a server. Like every app will run on a server, every bot will run on a server, ChatGPT runs on servers, all these things. So it's always going to be a case of like who understands, you know, what connects to what, how do we even be more efficient with costs of these things. All of that is room for where like cloud skills will be in demand. So yes, I just think like as the world continues to evolve and continues to be more modern, those skills will always be there. And if something comes along that is better, like, you know, the way we went from people hosting things on physical computers in front of them to cloud, again, that transition, you're in a good position to make it, because in a similar way, you know, when cloud started, it was the people looking after those servers that learned cloud and moved to that. So the thing is that, you know, it's a transferable skill, basically. You know, like I tell people like a lot of skills in life are transferable. Like, you know, you learn how to drive a car. You can be a driver, you can do it for your personal self. You can drive a truck, you can drive so many things. You can work in a hospital and drive an ambulance. That one skill opens so many doors. So in the same way, I think like, you know, sort of cloud computing and all these things kind of opens so many doors to different industries and companies as well. So,
Absolutely spot on. I love what you said, that, you know, ultimately what we're loyal to is, or I mean, paraphrasing what you said, is the thinking behind, you know, whatever it is that we call it, right? We were once in the world of data centers. At the moment, infrastructure is running on the cloud, no matter what the industry is, whether it's AI being powerfully powered by cloud, you know, financial services, everyone is running on the cloud, right? There would always be a need for an infrastructure layer for in the world of technology and in this intelligence age. At the moment, cloud computing is at the peak of it. Indeed, like if you learn the skills today and things evolve and move into something else, you will still be ready. But absolutely spot on. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for that. I don't know if anyone else wants to say something in relation to that.
Yeah, I can come in here. Just as Emmanuel was talking, so many things came to mind. So for those who don't know, I was at Accenture for about 6+ years, and I've recently moved over to another consultancy. And one thing I found is that within the industries that we work with, there were some industries, for example, public sector, that were quite hesitant to things like digital adoption previously. Whereas now they're like, especially with the increase in interest in AI, you can't get left behind. Nobody wants to be left behind. And because of that, you can definitely tell the demand for cloud skills, platform engineers, DevOps engineers. So much so, I was at an event recently, and the CTO of Holland & Barrett was talking about her experience. And 6 years ago, there was no in-house engineering team at Holland & Barrett. And now they brought in their own in-house engineers to spin up what we now have as a Holland & Barrett app, you know, kiosks within the stores. And that just goes to show that previously these type of jobs were outsourced to consultancies, but now companies are realizing the demand and they're now bringing it in-house. So that was my first point, which is why I feel like cloud skills are increasingly so becoming in demand. The second thing I was going to say as well was about like digital adoption, and the fact that like I've always been under the notion, especially with things like AI, right? People are a bit concerned with what skills are going to remain and what skills may not remain. Will it take over our roles and stuff like that? But I always believe, and what I'm seeing now is that with our clients, they won't trust you. It will take a long time, if it ever happens, for a company to trust AI to build its infrastructure. Because if the infra goes down, your company is down. So you can be assured in the fact that there will always be demand. And so much so that when I'm talking to clients and they are checking who's going to come on as an engineer, they're really they really take time to check people's CVs and their credentials, because the infrastructure, making sure it's secure, especially with everything migrating to the cloud now, is so key. It's an important skill to have. And the last thing I was going to say is monitoring. A lot of customer infrastructure is on the cloud now, and cloud skills incorporates monitoring and observing the infrastructure in the estate and the service. And again, that's cloud skills, right? And that's in demand, because that's how you translate what's happening to like C-suite and your stakeholders and the execs. So yeah, those are my reasons why I'll be like, cloud skills are in demand.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Omolara, I want to ask the next question so you can answer the two together. Thank you, Emmanuel and Tomiwa. And I want you to touch on platform engineering, right? Because I know you're a platform engineer, Omolara. There's actually a lot of focus on platform engineering specifically, because I keep checking these things, and I remember asking one of this foundational models recently about, tell me the specific cloud pathways that are increasing in their demand because of the rise of AI. And on top of it was actually platform engineering. So for platform engineering, it's emerged as one of the most sought after cloud specializations now, right? So I want you to describe what platform engineering is to someone that is just hearing about it for the first time. And again, tying it to the first question of what does that look like in terms of relevance, right? Why is there a lot of focus on platform engineering? What does it entail? And why is it so important that we know that it will still be in demand?
Okay, thank you so much, Gbemi. I actually wanted to mention about, a government services these days. The fact that even the UK government is trying to push for a lot of things, any small thing they're saying, we want digital ID cards, and their mind is just focused on digital now. And it's just very interesting that, I think government institutions are not really, well, before they were not really open to adopting, technology that much, but now they are like really pushing for it. So because I work with like the government service at the moment, because I work in a consultancy, and I've seen a push internally to actually hire in-house platform engineers. So for platform engineering, we build systems actually. We start that. Okay, I think I've had a really long day. So we build systems for developers to work on. I know that there was a time that there were few developers, and then it came to an era where we had like much developers, like people building systems. Now platform engineering is shifting into that position where we had less platform engineers or cloud engineers before. Now we have more platform engineers because everybody wants to build like systems. And as a consultant, we didn't have a lot of platform engineers before, but because when you consult for a company, you build a system for them, they want people that can actually maintain those systems internally and then build up on what you've built before. So yes, people are beginning to say, okay, we want platform engineers that can improve what you've built, not just SREs that are just going to, monitor things that are happening. We want people that can actually build up on it to say, okay, what happened before? Is this the right design that we need? What's it called? Our goal, the product that was initially built, does it really suit our business goals anymore? So companies are beginning to look at that. So for platform engineers, we build systems for developers to, push their products onto. There was a time I was on a project where we had data ingestion, and then rather than just have one data platform sit somewhere, we had an ephemeral data platform where a developer may want to, ingest data from just anywhere to actually test the product that we built. And then what they would do is just to click Terraform apply. It will spring up, just a system for them. They would test what they need to test to ingest a type of data or, any data format actually that they're trying to build. And then when they are done, they click Terraform destroy, and it destroys that environment for them. It reduces cost. So that's what we do. We create that ready-to-made platform for them to test what they want to build up on, and then we can destroy that environment so that we don't we don't generate too much cost for the client. So that's what platform engineering is all about. We build systems for developers, basically.
Thank you so much, Omolara, for sharing. And what you said is absolutely spot on, right? I've seen organizations, like when I moved from my first job to my second one, I remember one of the things that we were doing heavily was just a lot of refactoring of their infrastructure code, right? There was a lot of going into the Terraform scripts and correcting a lot of things and just making sure. And we had so many updates too as the infrastructure was evolving, right? We had to keep evolving, even though, like, and that's the thing about, even though AI has evolved significantly and can help with these things, the judgment element of what we do, like those decision-making elements, the architecture elements of what cloud engineers and solutions architects do, like AI is not even anywhere close to it yet. I just like Tomiwa was saying, like, organizations are getting so skeptical, right? Am I going to leave my friend? Because one wrong line of code when it comes to infrastructure or cloud, the infrastructure or cloud DevOps delivery, you can delete your entire infrastructure, especially when it's fully automated, right? Because we drive for full automation. With the click of a button, let's deploy, let's go to production. Which means that with the click of anything wrong, you can delete everything as well. So there's that element of ensuring that humans are still at the heart of monitoring, ensuring that the right decisions are made concerning these platforms. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Tomiwa, I'd like to come to you from an architectural perspective and your background, you know, in Accenture and your new organization right now. What have you seen consistently across the organizations about how they think about cloud skills? What have you seen, you know, consistently?
Yes, so I feel like prior there was certifications are great. So I think number one thing that ensures credibility is, are you certified potentially in a cloud provider, whether that be AWS, Azure, or GCP? Because again, it kind of gives that backing when they haven't met you yet to say, okay, this person at least is conversant in cloud terminology, or at least knows what an S3 bucket is, or all those sort of things, like at least understands the patterns, right? Another thing like I'm seeing consistently is, again, the push for automation, like you were saying, Gbemi. A lot of them really want, you know, at a click of a button, can we deploy to prod? Do we have the right principles in place to be able to do, things quicker, faster, and repeatable? What else are we seeing across the board? I think typically that, and then another thing as well that I saw quite recently, especially with public sector, is there's a big push on sustainability, right? Especially with the rise in technology and AI, and whether it's burning down the trees and how healthy it is for the environment. So another thing is, how can you make what you're creating sustainable and sustainable essentially? So a lot of modules, like modularity, how do you make things repeatable? How can we leverage what other people have done before? How can you create cost savings to an organization? How can we do things in a repeatable form? How can we create patterns that can be leveraged so that we're not repeating what other people have done, and we can become more innovative with some of our solutions, or how we can implement AI into our solution? From that perspective, that's what I've seen for cloud. And like you said, Gbemi, architecture. Yes, you may, as an architect, use AI to help with your diagrams, but the strategic thinking can never be replaced by AI. And those are the skills that are that they're really looking for from an architecture perspective. How do we look at this strategically? Where does FinOps come into place? How can we optimize this solution? And how do you how can you translate the architecture or the cloud to like business outcomes? Like where can we see the value?
Thank you so much. So good. I don't know if anyone else wants to contribute to that question. Any thoughts?
Like Tomiwa mentioned, I think one thing I've noticed really is systems thinking. Like, you don't just come up with, I know how to deploy a VM. Okay, why? Why not a container? Why should we stay with, AKS and not, just container instances, just 2 containers? And then, they want to know the why behind what you're doing. You can't just say, I want to ingest data from XYZ. To tell you, okay, so what happens when, we have data that is not really, refined? Where do you want to store that? They want to know the why behind the what you're doing. like Tomiwa said, certifications don't really cut it anymore. You really have to, I think critical thinking is actually taking the forefront rather than certifications at the moment. People should not, really focus on, well, certifications are good. It helps you to be grounded and, stay focused. You have a goal that you set your mind on, and it shows a recruiter, it shows the company that, you're somebody that when you set a goal, you can see through it, or, you can just achieve it. But can you think? That's the thing they want. Systems thinking and design. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. The thoughts behind the decision, and that's something that we stress a lot with what we do here at Cloudboosta, which we'll talk about later. But what I was just trying to say is, generally, it's not just about clicking this and clicking that. There's always think through it, right? Why are you doing that? Why is that you have to give a justification for it? And one of the things that came to my mind as Omolara was speaking is that this is where AI hallucination scares me a lot. Like, when you ask AI for something and then it begins to make up things and all of that. I don't know how many of you have experienced it, but it's actually a thing. In fact, some of my friends who are leading the channel when it comes to AI, anytime I say anything that's related to hallucination, I'm always like, look at you people's AI. I know we're all in this together, right? But honestly, like, it's something to actually flag. AI actually gives wrong results sometimes. And even when you challenge AI, it will tell you that, oh, well, I'm more concerned. I don't know how many of you have faced this, but you can actually ask ChatGPT and all of this Gemini. I'll be like, why would you give me a wrong answer or something that is made up? And they'll be like, well, I'm more concerned about sounding right than actually being right. I'm telling you, like, I've actually seen this as an output from an AI question before. So with AI saying that, you know what, I'm concerned about sounding right, because people have used AI for research work, and then you would see references in the research made up, completely made up, right? Those references don't exist. AI will reference someone who has written a book that is not an author to any book, right? I've seen someone ask AI prompts that, oh, how many books has he written? He puts his name right there into it, and AI said, oh, these are the list of books that this person has written. And it's like, I'm the one that is asking the question. I haven't written these books, right? So my point is that, there still has to be that human element, especially at this point where, where AI is in its development. I know that AI will continue to evolve and accuracy would increase, hopefully, but then we still cannot take out the judgment elements, right? And where humans come in ensuring that, there's nothing wrong with running your thoughts process through AI, but not AI doing the thinking for you. Okay, so I want to talk about breaking into global markets, right? Considering all of us on the call are from Black ethnicity, right? And we all have been able to build successful careers in the UK, right? And this applies to people, whether you're in the UK or anywhere across the globe. So I just want to talk about how your experience has shaped what you think it takes to actually break through. Some of us are migrants, some of us were born in the UK. I'm a migrant, for example. I wasn't born in the UK. I moved to the UK after university, right? So I think all of us moved at different stages of our lives and we can refer to it. So but then, especially because, you would hardly see a lot of Black people in our field, let alone even Black women. I don't think I've actually ever met any Black woman that I would say, oh, this is my, Black or my career mentor as a Black woman in tech. I've just never seen that. And it's not, I'm not, particularly as a technical professional, I've seen a lot in consulting. Of course, there are really powerful Black women doing amazing things. But I just want you to touch on how ethnicity has played a role, or being Black. Like, how have you been able to navigate the UK space, and you're thriving in your careers? I know, Tomiwa, you've been a DevOps lead for years in Accenture, leading teams and all of that. I would just like to hear from you, and this is from the standpoint of encouraging people who think, particularly migrants, right? Because for us, for someone like me who moved to the UK post-university, I was quite intimidated because, you're just wondering that, all these people, they've lived in the UK for many years, they have in fact, till today, and I don't know if some of us, there's some jokes that I can just not relate to because I'm not from this background, right? I don't know if you guys also, so there's some things that they'll be like, oh, that they just think that is normal. But not everyone grew up in the UK, not everyone watched the same TV shows that you guys watch when you were growing up. I don't even want to go into the TV shows I watched when I was growing up, so anyway, so from that angle, like, how have you been able to still shape and build a successful career, right, in the UK, despite the fact that we're still pretty much a minority, you know, as Black people. Who would like to say something on that?
I can go first. So I moved to the UK when I was 17 to study in university. And you know, going to university was already its own like culture shock in different ways, and so many different things to learn outside of the classroom before you even get to inside the classroom. Like I remember always, you know, like in my like first month or whatever, I would say to my dad of like, I'm having to go home and rewatch a lot of these lectures because they talk too fast. But like, you know, these things like that, and like even just getting to be comfortable, like taking up space in the classroom, for lack of a better term. When I mean taking up space, like knowing you're supposed to be there, like asking questions, being engaged. There was always that kind of thing of like, I don't want to start asking now. Let's be like, which school did this guy go to? You know, like, you know, I remember like in my first week, because I studied electronic engineering, and my first week they asked us to like solder something on like a circuit board and things. I was like, that's the first time I was doing that. And like, you know, I remember I turned, there was a Black guy next to me, but he grew up in the UK. And I was like, oh, you got, because I was expecting, okay, this is how you do it, this is how you get started. And he just left us in the room. And I turned to him and he was like, oh, yeah, we've been doing this since like, yeah, like year 7 or something. I was like, oh, okay. So this is a very different kind of view. So for me, like from that point of view, it was like, you've just got to try and look at the positives, right? Like you're already there. And this carried on to when I started working. It's like, okay, you're already there. People are going to say things that probably sometimes, maybe consciously or unconsciously, to intimidate you. Okay, do you know this? Do you know that? But it's fine. Like, you're not going to know everything. And what I always tell people, like, the time you know the least is when you have the most to learn. So, like, be excited by it. Like, tomorrow you're going to have less to learn. It's going to start getting probably a bit more boring as you go on. So kind of enjoy that growth because it's rapid. Because like because like I found, you know, working on my first project, after like week 1, I was like, oh my God, there's so many things that like this time last Friday I didn't know. And then I had that for like months. And it was just like, it was so eye-opening. I'm like, oh, this is good. And, you know, I always say like, try and have good people around you. Like, you know, you guys will drive each other. And that's one thing when I found like certifications were good, because I always tell people, lean on your own strengths. I went into this straight out of university. And the advantage I had was that, look, I'd been studying, so I knew how to study for exams. People that I'm working with have left school for like 20 years. Like, you know, I would probably be better than them in exams. So it was like, okay, let me start doing certifications. And, you know, yes, people will always tell you, you know, it doesn't count as much as practical experience, which is true, you know, but it doesn't hurt as well. Like, it gives you a starting point of like, okay. So I remember like always thinking, like, okay, I'll go to AWS. Okay, according to what I read in my certification, the right thing to do here is use a NAT gateway. Okay. Okay, so I know that's the right thing to do. How do I do it? Then I Google how to use NAT gateway. I still get there at the end, but like before I would have just been overwhelmed, like, where do I start? This and this. So that's just an example. And in terms of coming from a diverse background like that, again, it's very hard, but try and use that as your strength. You're going to be different, you know. So I gave an example, like coming from Nigeria, where we study a lot on the theory, you're going to be better than these people in those kinds of things, right? At the same time as well, because of that, like, you know, think about like the presentations we did at school, the way people kind of dig into project defenses, all these things. A lot of people here don't have that kind of experience. So for me, for example, when I went into consulting, I was 22 at the time. Before long, they were putting me in front of clients because, 1, I was able to speak like that. 2, I was very proud to say I don't know, right? And that's something that in any walk of life or in any career, like building relationships is important. And I always tell people, you can't build a relationship with someone until you've been vulnerable with them. And one of the easiest ways of being vulnerable is saying, I don't know, right? And this is the thing. So a lot of the time, like even some of the stakeholders we're working with, because there were things they didn't know, they would come to me like, oh, I actually don't know this thing too. Like, what do you think? And we would go away and figure it out together. But their fear was that if they said that to like their own peers or whatever, they would feel judged. So it got to a point where like all these people were coming to me just because there was that camaraderie of like, okay, we don't know it together, let's do it together, and that kind of thing. So be happy to say you don't know, but obviously don't just say we don't know and just look like, say, I don't know, I'm gonna try and find out. I'll ask this person, I'll look into this, I'll look into that. And also try and think big picture. Again, engineering, we're all trying to solve problems, right? And I think each of us growing up has solved problems in our lives. Like, you know, like when people say, oh, how do you manage your budget in the cloud? And you start thinking of instances and this and that. It's like, just try and think back, like when my dad would give me pocket money to take to school. I know like, okay, this is the most important thing, you know, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to eat? Then the rest I can, you know, do the luxury things after. So use that same mindset in your work, right? Like, okay, bread and butter, it needs to have a website, it needs to do this. Okay, then we can use the change to do all these fancy things. We can add the AI later, all these kind of things. So in that kind of aspect, like, yeah, just try and do that. And I think it's also important, you know, to have, what's it called? Platforms like Cloudboosta and stuff. That was one of the reasons I signed on, because it's like, how do you get more people, you know, that look like you to be in these spaces, right? You know, this month I've started doing, you know, personal consulting for some people. And I remember I went into a meeting on Wednesday with a potential client, and, you know, I'm under NDA, so I can't say who, but like, it's a Black-owned business, a Nigerian-owned business in London here. And the guy, first thing he said to me was like, oh, when they recommended you to me, I was just happy to come and meet you, because it was like, from a cultural point of view, I feel like you know what it means to strive to change the stereotype of Nigerian business. You know, it was like I could easily find a Mr. Patel to do this thing for me, but he won't understand, you know, what it means, like, you know, fighting the stereotypes and things like that. And, you know, I got that gig because, you know, he had that connection. So yeah, so your background is not an albatross. It's you know, it's also something that can propel you. And, you know, again, also think about like the positives of like, there's people from where we're from also trying to make change and stuff like that. So we almost kind of need to support each other so that there's more of us in this space. I know it's obviously hard because, you know, the certain demographics that have much of a head start, but like, you know, the adages always say, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, the ocean started with a drop, all these kinds of things. So yeah, it's a gradual process. And the hope is that, you know, by God's grace, when I have kids, they can say, oh, you know, there's more engineers that are Black that look like me and stuff like that. And, you know, their kids will have more and so on and so forth. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like Emmanuel has covered everything. Thank you so much. So holistic, so holistic. Please let me jump to the remaining questions, right? And then you guys can also chip in, you know, for other comments. But thank you so much, Emmanuel. And I hope that really helped a lot of people focus on the things that you're good at, what you can bring to the table. So I'll combine these two questions together. I feel like we've answered it already, but someone is asking that, is AWS certified solutions architect enough to get interviews, or do I need hands-on projects? And let's combine that to what kind of person can actually thrive in cloud DevOps beyond technical skills. So I want us to touch on maybe some soft skills that we found relevant, right, as we've navigated our journey. I don't know if Omolara or Tomiwa want to say something on that, please.
I was gonna let Tomiwa go first because she's an architect, but like I mentioned earlier, critical thinking. You have to really think. If a client is coming to you, they're not just coming to you to say we want a website. There's a reason why they want the website. It could be visibility, it could be because they want to sell products, it could be that they want to just receive applications. You have to think, okay, if someone wants to make an application to say register to take a test now, what would they do if they come to an office? They most likely fill a form, they will, you know, probably had their picture, things like that. You have to think in system/processes. I will always tell people that, honestly, technical things starts with critical thinking and reasoning, really. You have to think about how the dots connect then you now design a system using the products that, AWS or Azure has to, connect dots. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to think critically. Then that's one skill. And also you have to be confident. If someone is coming to you to solve their problem and you appear as if you're not confident, they would take their business elsewhere. And I think that's what junior engineers don't learn early enough. People that are coming, they feel like, I don't know a lot of things. Why not try your hands on something, present it confidently, take feedback, then you can improve on it. You would never know how far you can go if you don't try. So that's one thing. In fact, senior engineers actually like people that can, that are confident enough, people that don't just think, but are confident enough to present what they think. Because in all honesty, every senior engineer is thinking to jump ship because they want to times 2 their salary. So they are looking for the next person to hand over to. So they would rather prefer somebody that that this one can actually think code. They don't just take orders. So that's one thing. You have to be confident. They will even push you forward to go and speak with the client. So you have to develop confidence. If you're not confident in your own self, how do you want someone else to have confidence in you that you can do something? So that's something you have to develop, and you have to be someone that can think on your feet or your toes. And then I was actually going to touch on the previous question about as immigrants or as Black people. I think we do ourselves a lot of disservice. As somebody that used to be very timid, anyone who knew me before would know that I used to be very, very quiet. But I used to be someone that would think, oh, maybe I was not worthy to be in a room because of my skin color. But I think that mindset changed on one day when I was on a call with somebody and the person wanted to do something. And my tech lead was on that same call with me. And he turned off his camera and said, you do this thing on our own team every single day. Don't say because of his own skin color. Was I don't think because he's different from you, because he's a man, he knows it more than you. And he was like, I need you to walk over him. I'm not going to speak on this call. Teach him and show him what you can do. That actually really boosted my confidence, because at the next meeting he saw me, was like, hello. I was like, hi. Yeah, like I taught you that stuff. So we shouldn't really do ourselves that disservice. Don't invalidate yourself just because you think, oh, I moved here 2 years ago. We have the same brain. You can spend as much time on something and you can learn anything. So yeah, that's something as well. And then for solutions architects, well, it's good to get certifications. The person that asked if solutions architect certification is, good enough, it's good. It helps you to think about systems, about architecting stuff, yeah. But try to think about a business in your area. Try to think about your local community. What problem are they facing? If it's just a primary school back at home, you want them to have an access to a system where they can submit their notes to their teachers and take pictures. Have you thought about designing such solution and then presenting it to somebody to say, okay, imagine probably a very remote area in your country where the network is not good enough. Think about how AWS can be used to solve that kind of problem for students in that area, or a health, community or health care center in that area. So those are things that you can do to put yourself forward, not just by saying a pass the certification. What can that certification achieve? That puts you forward to somebody to say this person can actually think about solutions. They're thinking solutions, they're not just thinking in theory. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Before I call Tomiwa, I just want to add another question so you can answer everything together, because I'm beginning to wrap up. Omolara, thank you so much. Critical thinking, problem solving, confidence. That confidence part is so important, and it shows in your voice, your body language, your tone. They can read it. And these are things that for us that grew up a lot, like spent majority of our youth in Nigeria or Africa, right? That's something that we were not taught enough, right? In fact, you're not even supposed to be too confident, can be misinterpreted as something else. But if you're going to thrive in a global space, you have to put yourself forward. You have to be confident in your thoughts, even if you're wrong. That's another thing I've noticed. A lot of people still talk about this confidently. I mean, you shouldn't be wrong all the time, but man, confidence is so important. And Omolara, thank you so much for stressing on that, and just the thinking, focusing on things that you bring to the table, right? Being confident. All right, thank you so much, Omolara. Thank you, Emmanuel. Tomiwa, I would like to ask you this question, and then you can contribute to all the previous questions as well. Someone is saying, for someone coming from a non-IT background like healthcare, what challenges should I realistically expect? And then someone is saying, what tool should a beginner realistically learn first? Should it be Docker? Should it be Kubernetes? Should it be Terraform, on their cloud journey? And I'm asking you this because I know you're from a non-tech background. I think it was biomedical science also that you studied, if I remember clearly. So, and I know that also, Tomiwa, I believe it was your set, like in Accenture, that you guys came in and then they told you to do AWS certification in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something. I mean, you guys, anyway, I would like you to touch on that. Like, just how were you able to go from, uni, you studied biomedical sciences, and then you got into consulting, and then you're being told to do AWS. I remember, anyway, so please share from your experience on that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Gbemi. And first off, Omolara, I love that story of the confidence. That is so, so powerful. Like, I absolutely love that. So kudos to you. You own that space. But yeah, so I studied biomedical science at university. And then I remember within the first when I joined Accenture, I was like, I want to become technical. And the only way for me to get that confidence was to do the certificate, right? So I did the cloud practitioner, and then within, I think 3 weeks after that, I did the solutions architects. I really wanted to become technical, and I needed some backing because this was complete unknown to me. So for the person coming from healthcare, I can completely empathize with the position that you may be feeling, but I'll feel like in those situations, it would be really good to tap onto the resources that are available. So if there's a certificate that's available, if there's training, if there's Cloudboosta, if there's anything that you can do to just give you that confidence to be able to walk into a space and be like, I at least know this, then do it, because that's what gave me the confidence coming from healthcare. And I remember my first DevOps project was, my old line manager would say I was baptized by fire, because I was landed in with, the support was zero, absolutely nothing. I didn't even know what GitHub was. I didn't even know what Git was. I knew nothing. And I was told to deliver Hello World in such a short space of time. Now I can look back on it and think, wow, thank God for that opportunity. And I really learned so much. But in the time, it was tough. So I think Emmanuel touched on it, don't forsake the times of uncomfortability. Those rigid, those are the times where you will really grow and develop the most, when you're just so unsure and you just feel like you're learning lots. Those are really sometimes the career defining moments in your career. But so my top tip would be for you coming from a non-technical background would be, first off, tap onto the resources that are available, any certificates, I'm sure online or even within Cloudboosta, there's intro to cloud, intro to platform engineering, intro to DevOps. Try and understand even what the role will entail, what the core principles are, what the patterns are, because it will give you that boost and that confidence to be able to go into these spaces. And I've actually used that to my advantage as well. So don't think coming from healthcare is at a disadvantage. In quite a lot of the projects that I have worked on, they've been health-based. So my recent project was building a digital service for screening tuberculosis, right? So you can really use your your skills and your knowings and your learnings. You can apply them to different industries, and that's what I've chosen to do, because I still want to be within healthcare. I still want to work in tech for good spaces, so there's definitely room for that. And they tend to like people that have worked in those backgrounds, because you can also become like a cloud product manager type role, where you've got the expertise, you've got the technical know-how, but you also know about the product, so you may know about the user, or you know about the industry. So those things kind of come together, and you can marry them both and become who you want to be in that space. I know Omolara touched on is solutions architects enough? She's touched on that already. The only thing I wanted to add was, when applying for roles now, just be very mindful, because I feel like because of AI, a lot of people are just applying for anything, right? You're not having to be, what's the word? There's not a lot of effort sometimes put into applications. And I would say that from what my experience and from what I've seen, having a certificate on your CV is not enough. And more time, that won't really get you through the scans. A lot of recruiters, a lot of companies are now using AI to screen before a human being sees your CV. So make sure you read the JD, and whatever skills they have on that JD, you've also listed those on your CV. You can't just use a generic kind of CV and apply for all now. You kind of have to know what that role is looking for and use your adapt your CV for that specific role. So if they've said networking, make sure you've listed that you've done networking, and you can, that skill is listed clearly on your CV. I think I touched on everything.
Thank you so much. So spot on. Emmanuel, I don't know if you want to add something, but I also have a question for you as we begin to wrap up. Please feel free to ask your questions if you still have any. And I think someone is still asking about, I don't know if it's the same person, but I'll just pick all the questions together. Someone is saying that what are the biggest mistakes that beginners make when trying to enter cloud DevOps? And then what would you avoid if you were starting again? And maybe you can also touch on, what challenges to expect if someone is basically starting or coming from a new background. So it's just that trying to, yeah, I'm sure you get it. Yeah, thank you, Manu.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of challenges. Like it's your first kind of time and all these kinds of things. What I would say is obviously take it slow. Like I always tell people, some of my friends see me now and I open terminal on my computer and I do something, they're like, what's this guy doing? I told them, like, it took me like 4 years before I started doing things on the terminal. I didn't have shame. I was very happy and proud to do it the easy way with, UI or like whatever I needed to avoid the terminal, I would do it. And people would shame me like, oh, you're an engineer, you're not using terminal. I don't mind. So do that, like the same way, if you're learning to ride a bike, if you're using your training bikes, don't let anybody shame you. Like if you fall down, it'll be only you that will kill yourself. So like it's your own journey. So start gradually, like with something. Like I think Tomiwa mentioned Hello World. That's literally just something that prints Hello World. And that's the first ever program I wrote. And literally everything I do for the first time is some variation of Hello World. When I was learning AWS, it was okay, I'm going to deploy a server that says Hello World. When I was learning Kubernetes, a container that says Hello World. Just start from there. And then you now start building on top of it. Like, okay, what if I wanted to dynamically change Hello World to Hello Emmanuel or Hello this, and then you learn about variables and all these things. So what's always works for me is rather than being overwhelmed by all the different knowledge and different things, it's more so trying to relate it to a problem you're trying to solve, right? Of like, okay, let me do this particular thing because I need it, right? And that's when, so when you're going to learn a tool, you learn it when you need it, is what I've always gone by. Some people are like, okay, I need to know how everything works and then I can know. You're going to hit a problem one day and you're like, how does that make sense? Okay, where do I store a password? Oh, AWS has something called Secrets Manager. Okay, I'm going to learn about it and use it. Gradually, you build up like that. So that's always my advice, like take it one step at a time. The other one, like I said before, try and always look at what is unique about you and bring it to your work. So be that your background, your work ethic, maybe you're the kind of person that likes asking lots of questions, bring that in. Like, in the meetings, ask why. Like one of the things I always say is like, when I'm trying to design something or anything, I try and ask why 3 times of like, okay, this thing is expensive. Why is it expensive? Okay, because I chose the big one. Why did I choose the big one? All these kinds of things. And then the root cause of that. I think other challenges people meet are kind of, I guess like getting the job as well and staying focused and staying positive. It's very hard. I went to very dark places mentally when I was job searching. And, I talk a lot about mental health with people even outside of this because it's quite important to share this because a lot of times all of us feel like, oh, this is happening to only me and stuff like that. What I'll say is, just try and keep going. I know that even if it's not something that maybe your very next job is not in DevOps, but maybe when you get there, you're going to be like, oh, I was learning this DevOps thing and we actually kind of need this and this and that. I know some people, like my friend now is head of IT at a company. He went there because he was working with their accountant and then they brought him in to join the accounts team. And then when he was there, I was like, oh, why don't you guys buy this IT solution, this and that? And they brought him now, he's head of IT and digital at the company now. Just because he had been on his own trying to learn about tech, talking to me, all these kinds of things. So it might not be immediate, but it's always a process. So, and we've talked a lot about like certifications, they're important, but then, use it to do something. Oh, my certification thing today, we were learning about EC2. I'm going to deploy one. I'm going to kill it immediately so I don't spend money, but at least I'm going to deploy one. I know how it works, okay, now that I've deployed it, what kind of problems does this solve? Go on and read. Like, we have the internet now. Like, okay, what does this solve? How does this work? AI, sometimes I fire up Claude code or whatever, and it's not even me telling it to do work. Sometimes it's just a sparring partner for me. I'm like, oh, I want to do this. Does this make sense? Why does it not make sense? What would you do? Why would you do that? Just sparring, basically. You can even tell AI, like, act as a teacher to me, explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old or something. It may not be perfect, but it gives you a way to start, okay, I want to do this project. I learn how to do networking in AWS. Guide me step by step. Don't give me the answers directly. Things like that. Create your own, sandbox. Like, the world is your oyster kind of thing. Like, find what works for you, how you learn best, and kind of focus into it. And just, kind of stay strong. Find like-minded people as well to encourage you. And,
yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So good. So good. Like, I feel like with the rise of AI, I just feel like it has just opened a world of like, there's nothing that is not possible anymore, right? Even if you don't understand something, you can walk through, like I said, AI is not meant to replace our thinking or our brain, but we can go on that journey together. Like that 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I always add it to almost every question right now. Like, explain this to me as a 5-year-old, explain this to me as a 6-year-old. It's between me and AI. My boss does not know what I'm typing in ChatGPT to get the results that I'm getting. So and I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on using your strengths that we've all been emphasizing, and I can't even stress that enough. I feel like most of us with our background, Black people, you schooled in Nigeria and all of that, you're probably already, because I feel like in Africa, there's just a lot of emphasis on education, academia. You would think it's the same everywhere, but that's not true. I remember there were times in university where literally going to secondary school and having talks with this Caucasian, young girls, and basically just try to sell the idea of university to them. Not everyone wants to go to university. You hardly find that in the educator world in Africa, right? Everyone is, once you're already educated, you're doing secondary school, there's no doubt about it. You're surely going to university unless there's affordability issues. But we're basically trying to, and they'll be like, oh, don't try to convince them too much, So just to let you know that the fact that we're very academic inclined is something that you can definitely use to your advantage. For me, I just go back to work for maternity, and I was like, see, how can I make an impact? I've been trying to get a project at work. I'm not a project yet, but you know what I've been doing? I've been doing certifications. I've done 4 certifications this year. I'm telling you, I've done 4 certifications this year alone. Even right now, when I'm introduced, I'm like, oh, when they say, oh, which certification? In fact, I've not emphasized the one that. There was one I did, I had 95%. Omolara was in my house that day. I wrote that I had 95%. So every time I'll be like, oh, I've done this certification, I had 95%. And I'll use it to, I'm telling myself that, yes, I know I just got back from maternity leave, but please, I'm ready for work. I'm serious, So I'm telling you, right, use what you have to your advantage. And the fact that you can, and there's a lot of common sense thinking when it comes to most of the things that we do. You will be surprised. I'm telling you, just being able to think of every problem can be solved, everything can be thought through. Okay, so without wasting too much time, let me just take some of the final questions I can see. Someone is saying that if I follow your advice consistently, how long should I realistically take to land my first job in the UK? And I want everyone to contribute to that, and then let's just take the question of what final advice would you give to anyone who is trying? Most people that are listening to us today are considering, is cloud for me? Or they're just thinking, how long is this going to take me? I feel like sometimes people just get scared when they think about, timelines and all of that. Hey, I've already spent all these years in university. Why would I now start another journey again and all of that? So I just want to hear a final word of encouragement from everyone, right? What do you think? What would you advise somebody what would be your final advice there? And that's the last question. What would be your final advice to everyone who is wondering, how long is it going to take me? I'm just scared. I just don't know what the next steps are. Please, final word of advice. Tomiwa, can we have you first, then Omolara, then Emmanuel? Thank you.
That is a very good question. It's a tough question because the people have spoken about the economy and the state of the market right now, and there's so many contributing factors. Like, my encouragement to you will be, don't be discouraged. I know it's hard. I think a lot of us on the call have gone through the process of looking for jobs. Even as experienced, it can be quite disheartening. So don't be too disheartened throughout the process. Maintain faith and use your time wisely. Wait well, I guess. Continue to upskill, continue to do projects by yourself and showcase them in a way. I think this country, especially corporate, loves to talk about visibility. Be visible in a way that's comfortable for you. So if you're doing certificates, post it on LinkedIn. If you've created a project, if you've done a little POC, or you've created a little tech arc problem in your head and you've got a solution, just share it on LinkedIn, share it with people, increase your visibility. Another thing I was going to say is network. They say your network is your net worth. If you see any, like me, if I see anybody that I like their position, I will message them on LinkedIn. Do you have 15 minutes? I'm quite proactive with, in this life, if you want something, you have to go and get it. Sometimes, you know, closed hands don't get fed. So just fight for what you want. If you see somebody in a position, message them, and be like, oh, do you know what? I've just worked on this. Or, you know, look at what I've done. This is a POC that might be of benefit for your company. Add value in the message. It might get their interest a bit better than just saying, this is me, here's my CV. Find creative ways to engage with different people. And I feel like that does help, because sometimes in organizations, it may not good. If I'm in Accenture, for an example, and they're like, we need a DevOps engineer now, like, I feel like they're even recruiting, you know? So anybody who wants a role at Accenture, you can let me know. I can find a way for a cloud consultant. But it's easy because I can just put you in contact with people. So connect with people. LinkedIn is that tool for a reason. And another thing is just rounding up on what everybody has said. Like Emmanuel said, start slow. Don't overwhelm yourself. Master one thing at a time. Enjoy the process. Don't be too hard on yourself as well. And yeah, don't be too disheartened by the UK market or the working market right now. The right role will find you. Yeah.
The right role will find you. I love that proactivity. Anyone that you see you like their role, follow them, send them a message. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Please don't be discouraged. I know some of you have been on this journey for a while now, but don't be discouraged. Timelines are very subjective. It depends on many factors. Omolara, let's hear you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Gbemi. I'm just gonna continue from where Tomiwa stopped with, you know, showcasing your work. Please try and post on LinkedIn. I'm one of those people that, I mean, I'm very guilty, you know, of not posting on LinkedIn. It's only once in a while that I post. So try to post on LinkedIn. Put yourself out there. Like somebody would say, grace rests on visibility. If you're not visible, people don't know what you're doing, right? And then one thing that I found out recently was actually contributing to open source. Somebody wrote I think it was a Medium article, so about, you know, the fact that if you contribute to open source, that companies actually like it now when they see people that contribute to open source, because they feel like this person is actually serious. They know the system. They know what is actually powering the systems. So say, for instance, if you're starting out in you know, cloud, you want to learn, you know, Python, for example, for scripting. Have you thought about any open source, you know, system that you can just contribute to for Python? Contribute. That does not only improve your skill, but your name is actually somewhere. Your name, if your name, you know, goes around in a community, somebody can remember you. If you say, oh, by the way, I'm looking for a job or something, you're in somebody's, you know, mind. And then another thing is attend meetups. Recently, I think there was this meetup I attended, and I met the person that actually organized the meetup is a recruiter that recruits for different companies. So I reached out to him. I said, you know, I stood at the door for you that day during the meetup. So Alpha, in case I need a job, can I come to you? He was like, yes, please. I'll see you at the next meetup at XYZ. And please, I mean, it knows me already, even though I didn't speak at the meetup. I mean, we have a connection already. We have a contact. He knows that I helped out at the last meetup. He knows companies that are hiring. So he's hiring for a company. Can easily tell them, I have a candidate used to work with XYZ, has XYZ experience. I have, you know, a foot at the door already. So that's one thing you want to do. And aside people that organize meetups, even people that attend the meetups themselves, you'll be surprised. I can just walk up to somebody and say, oh, actually on my team, we have a vacancy that we need somebody with XYZ experience. That helps you to know what the company is actually looking for, because they know the day-to-day activities on their team. So you know, okay, should I actually apply for this? Are they going to consider me? They're going to say, oh, this person is too junior for this role, or, you know, we need somebody that is more senior. So you're not just shadow boxing. So yes, that also helps. Yeah, I think that's all from me, actually. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, absolutely spot on. Thank you so much. Emmanuel, please, over to you.
Yeah, I think just in terms of like giving final advice, is just all I'll say, like, again, is your steps don't have to be the biggest, they just have to be right. Like, don't try and, do too much too quickly. What I would always say is, people always say, how do I start? How do I do this? I'm a creature of habit. So what I like to do, or what I would do, is like pick out 30 minutes in a week. Say these 30 minutes, I'm going to look at something DevOps related. It can be I read one article, it can be this, it can be that. And maybe, you enjoy it, and then it becomes 1 hour a week, and then maybe it becomes 2 hours, and then gradually, then you start trying out different things, and just gradually just build it at your own pace. Because what I always tell people is like, some people are like, what role can I go for? But sometimes you need to even figure out what you're interested in, like what you like first and foremost, like, what am I interested in? Maybe I actually just enjoy saying, this SNS connects to this, and that's what I like, and that's architecture. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe what you like is, I put my headphones on and I can write the code and all these kinds of things. Maybe that's what you like. So just try and just take that little step and see how it goes. I'm a person of faith, and one of the things we said in my church group the other day was that you can't stand still and ask God to direct you, because it's just going to be turning you around in one circle. Even if you're moving very slowly, if you're moving in the wrong place, it can kind of shift you and you keep moving. So always just try and just go after it, that's all I'll say, yeah.
So good. Can we celebrate our amazing panelists, guys? Has this not been a good session? How has the session been for you guys? Please give me one word to describe this session, right? I can see people clapping. Yes, so you cannot stand still and ask God to direct you. Can you appreciate our panelists? I'm sure you guys have enjoyed. Otu said it's been eye-opening. Amazing. Please feel free to connect with each of them on LinkedIn. Their names on LinkedIn are exactly how it appears right now. You will find all of them. Okay, Tomiwa, did you want to say something? Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. So yes, thank you so much. We celebrate you. Thank you so much. I can see everyone clapping. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a joy listening to you, and that brings us to the end of the panel session for today. Please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn, just like we said. And I'm just gonna spend the next 5 minutes to tell you guys about what Cloudboosta is about for those that are interested. But thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you, Tomiwa. Thank you, Omolara. I know it's been a busy movie. My eyes are so heavy. I just want to sleep. I'm so tired. It's been such a long week, but then we have to empower people. We have to empower people who look like us as well. So we appreciate you. We thank you so much. Okay, so just very quickly, for those who are asking, and this will answer the question of what do I need to learn next, and what's the next step for me, for people that are interested. So some of you know this already, some of you may not know, but I'm the founder of Cloudboosta, and all this initiative is brought forward by Cloudboosta. What we do is to train people who have a background in whatever background you have, right? We guide you and give you the blueprints for you to get into the world of cloud computing and DevOps, right? Omolara is one of the people that have gone through our journey, as well as many other people. For me, going into the world of cloud DevOps, right, it was very tough for me too. I just landed on the road. I had to learn on the job. I was like, see, if you can develop a roadmap that will help people and guide them into the world of cloud, it's going to be very helpful. I'm glad that many people have benefited from it. So that's what we do at Cloudboosta. We give you that roadmap that you need, and we hold your hand on that transition journey. So I know many of you are from different backgrounds, and that's why we've told you about cloud potential today. So no matter what your background is, right, you did engineering, you studied biomedical sciences or arts like Omolara, or all of us are from different backgrounds, and we've been able to advance our career in this field. And this can also be you as well. And this can be you on a panel 2 years from now or 3 years from now, right? You could potentially also be on a panel like this, answering questions, and you'll be just wondering how the things change significantly because you made a decision, right? You made a decision. So I want you to know that the world of cloud DevOps is not unsurmountable. It's not unsurmountable. What we do at Cloudboosta is that we have 4 different pathways that you could potentially join. We have our our cloud computing pathway for 8 weeks. We have the DevOps, we have the platform engineer pathway, we have the site reliability engineer pathway, and we have the advanced DevOps pathway. Each of these pathways you can access it regardless of your background, but we always say start with the cloud computing pathway. Each of these pathways are for 8 weeks, and for all of the things that we teach you at Cloudboosta, there is a lot of support that you get. There is a lot of support that you get. So for example, when you come to classes every Saturday, you're not just learning theory, just like we found out. Yes, it's good for you to do certifications. I've done so many of them and I will continue to do, but you need hands-on experience. You need hands-on experience that can augment what you're learning theoretically to actually help you land your first role. So that's what people have done that have come to us, and it's helped them significantly. So you can join us at Cloudboosta. For all the classes, we have hands-on sessions. Our classes hold every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. UK time. We teach you theoretical concepts, and then as we teach you the concept, we're going straight to actually showing you how you apply it into the industry, right? So for everything that we teach, and we give you that step-by-step guide, like for each of these different pathways, I'll show you in a slide shortly. So there's also career support available at Cloudboosta. We don't just leave you, right? Even right now, you can tell ChatGPT, okay, give me a curriculum of what I need to learn as a cloud DevOps engineer. And by the time you start working through it, you can get confused, or you can go to Google or YouTube and see all these videos. But the fact that you have a human support, someone that is holding your hands, guiding you. When you have challenges, you can come to us. We help you. We have weekly drop-in sessions. We have classes every Saturday. We have assignments. There's accountability. We're tracking everything you're doing. If you don't come to class, we're coming to find out why. You have a report at the end of each month. It's a very, very thorough process for those who are willing to transition. So for me, I'm like, what's the point? We can come and tell you there are lots of opportunities in these areas, but if we don't have a blueprint or a roadmap that you can actually follow step by step to go on that journey, then ultimately the conversation is not complete. So we're here to tell you that you can join us at Cloudboosta and we can take you on that journey. People that teach you at Cloudboosta are industry experts. I work as a cloud DevOps manager at PwC UK. Emmanuel, working in a leading firm as well in the UK, is a senior DevOps engineer. Tomiwa, amazing work she's doing in the consulting space in the UK. Everyone that teaches you at Cloudboosta, they're doing really well in their career, and they're teaching you from their experience. We also have amazing facilitators as well who have been trained to hold your hand on that journey, doing really well in their career as well, and they will help you. So all of this is what we've put in place. If you're interested in being a part of what we do at Cloudboosta, we have an ongoing discount, which I'll share with you shortly. Just reach out to one of our program advisors and we will share more details with you. Let me just share my screen to show you some of the things I just spoke about. But definitely reach out to us if you're ready to transition, right? There's flexible plans available for different sets of people. So I want you to know that the cloud DevOps is not insurmountable. You've heard from different people, science background, arts background, engineering background, we're all here. You can learn even with a full-time job, with a family, with no tech background. For me right now, I'm still building my career, even though I've taken out so much time out of work because of family, but the journey continues, right? So what's the next step for you? Join us at Cloudboosta. Pick which pathway you want to go into. We usually recommend you start with cloud computing because that gives you the foundation. Then you can go into any of these three, or you can do all 4 pathways. People have enrolled for the 4 of them and they are on that journey with us. But each of these pathways are 8 weeks each. And for everything, like I said, the structured learning, these are 12 pillars at Cloudboosta, 12 program pillars. Because for me, it's not just about you learning cloud. We've talked about the soft skills that are needed for cloud. We've talked about the motivation that you need. We've talked about how to leverage your existing background. All of these things and many more is what we do at Cloudboosta. So if you look at these 12 pillars, you can see that structured learning is one of them. We have lab sessions where you actually learn the practical side of what you're building, which is really good. You learn relevant tools. See, the world of tech continues to evolve, and every time we find out that what we're teaching is no more what is in the most demand, we exchange and we update. Our curriculum is never the same. It's in a continuum state, constantly changing to adapt to the industry. This is one of the challenges I had with the educational sector, me doing my master's and bachelor's, and sometimes the curriculum is just static. I am learning the same thing and it's no more relevant because the world has moved on. But that is not the case here at Cloudboosta. And as you can see from today's session as well, at Cloudboosta, you have access to industry experts. Like I said, there's a lot of motivation and accountability, right, along the way. We have weekly drop-in sessions where you can come and tell us what challenges you're having. You can book a session with us, as you're going through your journey, and then we can guide you on what you need to do. You get to work on group projects. This is also something that is so difficult for you to do on your own, right? Because how do you find a community of people who are also learning, who are like-minded people? Emmanuel talked about this. So leverage what we do at Cloudboosta. You build your soft skills with us. You gain valuable work experience. We provide job reference for you. We support your career. For those who are qualified, you access our internship opportunity, and there is ongoing alumni support. Some of our alumni on the call tonight, there's ongoing, like, you can never really leave Cloudboosta. We're always in your face. We're always with you every step of the way. So if you want to be a part of what we're doing, our next course starts 25th of April. Please take advantage of our ongoing discounts. Each of the pathways are usually, in fact, the value is more than what we selling for. But again, we know that this is a project where we have to empower the next generation, right? We have to empower the next generation of people who are interested in coming into the same field. And this is the investment that you will be making. Each of the pathways go for £1,500, but it's discounted at the moment. You only get to pay £1,350 for each of the pathways. And if you combine two pathways, you pay £2,400 instead of £3,000. And that's for the Zero to Cloud DevOps pathway. This is our recommended flagship program, that you do the cloud one for 8 weeks, and then you do the advanced DevOps for another 8 weeks. You can choose to have a break in between the 2 8 weeks period. It's up to you, right? That's why I said that we're very flexible. And for this payments as well, there are lots of various payment plans that are available for you that you can take advantage of. So we have that. And then if you want to do the 4 pathways as well, okay, so yeah. So if you want to do the 4 pathways, complete mastery, that means you're going to be with us for the rest of the year. Just come on board from this April, because it's 24 weeks. It's a long time. And that's from now till the end of the year, basically till around that time, because I mean, with 8 week cycles and the breaks in between. But yeah, we don't mind. We're here to take you on that journey. So you get that for £4,500 instead of £6,000, and all of this is very, very highly discounted. I told you guys I've done so many trainings this year, and some of them were classroom trainings. 3-day trainings, you pay £3,000 or £2,500, right? But this is a journey of several weeks of holding your hand, guiding you, helping you resolve issues. Is an investment that you make, that you get significant value afterwards. So please join us. Reach out to any of our program advisors. Tell us, we want to get to know you. What are your challenges? How can we support you? Do you prefer a different start date from April, even though we encourage you to start immediately, right? Because time is going. If you start now, end of the month, by June, you're going to be giving your presentation on cloud. You will be surprised at the things that you're able to say, the terminology they're able to use. So speak to one of our program advisors, and we will guide you. Every single thing you can think of in terms of support that you need, it's already available and embedded in this training program. So please reach out to us. Tell them ESD, right? Our special discount. I don't even know what ESD means, but you can just type ESD to them. Maybe early bird discount, super early discount. I think that should be SED. But anyway, ESD, SED, send discount to one of our program advisors, and they will guide you on the next steps. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. It's been a joy speaking to you all. Stay connected on the community, right? We always have so many programs for you every Friday. Just know that there's something for you from Cloudboosta, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a masterclass, whether it's a panel discussion, whether it's Ask Me Anything session. Please be in touch with us. We really want to support your journey. We cannot wait to go on this journey with you. Once again, I want to thank our super amazing. I mean, it was just a joy to connect and have those conversations with my amazing colleagues and so powerful supporters of Cloudboosta. I mean, Emmanuel and I went to the same secondary school. Every opportunity, I always say that. And, it's been amazing the kind of things that we're doing now, many years after. And, Omolara, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Tomiwa, work together in Accenture. It's such a joy to have you again. So, yeah, look at the people in our community, right? You can also join the community and have the right network around you that can push you to the same level. Don't do to the next level, right? Don't delay. If you know that this is for you, please make a decision. Lock down this discount. It expires 22nd of April, but lock it down immediately and, be a part of the community. Thanks so much for your time. Please enjoy your weekend. For me, I have an exciting weekend ahead that I'm looking forward to entering. I have a party tomorrow. I can't, if you know, you know. But anyway, please enjoy your weekend and let's hear from you, okay? And of course, we'll see most of you in class by the end of the month. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Thank you.